All In Sports Network. We love sports.
Coming to you from the land of whiskey and barbecue, Lone Stars and Longhorns, this is All In Colts, presented by the Unstable Blues.
Welcome back in. We have made several predictions, calls, or suggestions on how the Colts organization should operate or conduct their business. With the bye week upon us, we thought it was a good time to do some self-scouting and do a clip show on some of the things we have gotten right this season. So let's go All In Colts.
Yes, I'm Kevin. This is my son Liam. We are the Unstable Blues, happy to present All In Colts as part of the Rogue Media Sports Network.
Yep. Before we get into our successful predictions, congratulations to Kenny Moore for being the Colts representative for the Walter Payton Man of the Year nominee. From undrafted to one of the top slot corners, has allowed him to give back to his hometown of Valdosta, Georgia, and his new home of Indianapolis.
Yep, really excited for him to see that. So, all right. Here we go, looking back into our crystal ball.
Yes.
One of the shocks of the initial 53-man roster was the absence of versatile linebacker and safety Ronnie Harrison.
Yes.
We were mystified and would have pounded on the table for his 2 interceptions in 3 career games with the Colts in 2023.
The Ronnie Harrison I get, because he's not a teamer. He's not on special teams like Trevor Denbo. It's just tough because he was so versatile in so many different roles. It's tough to see him go.
Man, it's different.
We're different.
Yeah, we're different. I had long hair.
Yep.
All good.
Beginning of college season,
Yeah.
You needed a haircut.
I did, yeah.
As fate would have it, though, Ronnie Harrison made his return with Trevor Denbo's season-ending injury and almost got himself a blocked punt against the Lions.
Yep, almost. Next one, Spencer Schrader has been on a journey this year, on and off the Colts practice squad, so much his locker never emptied until he was snagged by the Jets. That's the part that we called where he would get picked up by another team in one of his moments of limbo.
Yeah, check out our journey along with Spencer here.
Is Spencer Schrader, is he an undrafted free agent?
Yes, he is.
Yep, him.
Okay.
Watch out.
All right.
I think he definitely – I would not be surprised if Matt Gay does not make it, but he does.
That it led to another 50-plus yarder missed field goal for Matt Gay.
Yep.
I
really do miss Chase.
I know. Oh, I know. He's been hitting everything for Tampa Bay.
We still have Spencer.
I know. I feel like we need to whisper a lot of this. We're dogging on a lot of people.
It needs to be done, though. Colts media is too nice.
Spencer Schrader was signed to the practice squad.
Yeah.
And then let go again.
Oh.
The Colts. I feel like Spencer Schrader is like that scene in Elf when Buddy the Elf just goes in the turnstile around and around the whole time.
Mm-hmm.
Like Spencer Schrader on the practice squad, not on the practice squad, dumped on the practice squad. Nope. There are kickers getting injured, different places for different reasons. And you would hate for Spencer Schrader to have a reputation, be off the practice squad because you needed to fill another position and suddenly get picked up. And now you're left without.
Yeah. One of those, I was actually wearing this shirt. I caught that. I was like, oh, that's fun.
Yep. Mm-hmm. And the nice Christmas reference there.
Yep. And then
playing that in.
Christmas time, all that.
Yeah.
But where are we? He ended up getting picked up by the Chiefs just before the Colts played against the Jets. Then he hit the game winner for the injured Harrison Butker against the Panthers. But then he got injured again, so the Chiefs are now in their third string kicker, technically.
Yep.
I believe Spencer's still signed to the Chiefs.
He is on IR I believe that means he could come back in week 18 and play against the Denver Broncos, I believe, is how that math works out.
Serving the Colts well, maybe.
He could still serve the Colts a purpose, yes.
Yep.
The saga of the season has been confusing, or has had confusing quarterback decisions, right? And the general lack of information, which led to the distrust in the direction of the organization. I was of the camp that AR should always be the guy. You were Team Flacco. After just 1 week, you wisely jumped ship, and after 2 weeks, AR was back in. We will never know the true impact, as far as we know, of those 2 weeks for AR, and only time will tell what really happened behind the scenes. But from what we can tell from an Ian Rappaport story, Jim Irsay was maybe heavily involved in the decisions, just like I had laid out, in addition of Kevin's conspiracies. Check this out. The organization as a whole. Oh, wait.
Yeah, I was just gonna say here. I have something about AR actually. Before we watch this clip.
All right.
Here, I have it right here. Anthony Richardson, since returning, 5th highest graded quarterback in PFF grade / PFF passing grade, 19th in EPA / play. Previously, he was 33rd in this category, which means he was worse than all starting quarterbacks plus a backup.
Yep.
5.6 pressure to sack ratio, best in the NFL. Second most rush yards, most rushing touchdowns, and most yards after contact among all quarterbacks. I'd assume Josh Allen is above him in that, which he's getting compared to from a lot of people. Josh Allen and AR, a lot of comparisons.
Yeah, for sure.
I mean,
6th highest QBR since returning as well.
Yes. So that's all I have to say.
Here
the bench
is
was needed.
The Kevin's conspiracies on as this was happening, mind you. This is not after the fact, so some of the stuff is maybe outdated, but this is in live term. This is the week of the benching. This is before any of the other Flacco, Joe Sacco stuff. Okay, all right. Kevin's conspiracies here. The organization as a whole has been saying that Anthony is a project. It's going to take some time.
Yep.
It's going to take some patience, right? Everyone in the organization has been saying this. Suddenly, there is a big shift in the it's going to take patience versus he gives us the best chance to win now. Those two phrases don't add up.
They
and don't go
contradict each
together.
other.
And a contradiction, to me, equals a conspiracy. So, my conspiracy theory is, and in no way am I saying this is correct, Jim Irsay got involved again and wanted to win now. He wants to recapture the glory days. The problem is the game has changed since those days, and so you can't do it the same way. So to me, this is an organization that does not know what they want, with an owner that should be fighting for his life, not owning an NFL franchise. He needs to pass it down to his daughters who can run it. I'm really glad that the Irsays have put so much investment into kicking the stigma for mental health initiative that they do, because all the Colts fans are going to need it. They're going to need mental health with the stuff that this organization is putting these people through. They are mediocre, and they have been mediocre, and their decisions continue to make them mediocre.
Oh, you okay?
Did you like that?
I did. I was
Coming
like,
back
wait,
from
hold
that
on. Yeah, maybe not as mediocre as of recent, which is because
But they're still
of one
only
guy.
6-7, and there are 4 games left. If they
Sure.
split those, either way, even if you go 3-1,
it's still mediocrity. It's 9-8. One player that has always been a favorite because of his sheer effort and will is Grant Stewart. Then we heard his story of overcoming his upbringing and what God has done and through his life, and we were even more impressed. We called for him to be played as early as week 2, and when he finally got his chance due to Jalen Carlisle's injury, he capitalized. He registered 19 total tackles against the Dolphins in week 7 and was a stop that led to a game-changing fumble. And we shouted out on Shane Steichen's weekly radio show.
This is from the Unstable Blues, asking about Grant Stewart. Never been given the chance before this game to play on defense. His energy is infectious and elevates everybody around him. Why not have him play a little bit more on defense potentially?
You know what? After that performance, obviously it's worth the discussion.
Everything's on the table.
Yeah. You know what he does? His energy is infectious, and it's how he plays, how he practices. You know, he's like the Energizer Bunny out there on the practice field.
Yeah.
And he's given 110% effort every single time he steps on that field. So it was really impressive to see his performance yesterday.
Yep.
If
Well deserved.
if you want any clue that we are more plugged into what this organization is all about and what it should be doing,
Yep.
there you go. Heading into the announcement of the initial 53-man roster, we always do this thing where we predict the undrafted rookies that are going to make the roster. I picked correctly with Dalton Tucker. You did as well with Spencer Schrader, although practice squad.
Yes.
Check out my prediction here. Dalton Tucker.
Dalton Tucker.
He played right guard.
Okay.
Played all 72 snaps against the offensive snaps against the Cardinals. Did phenomenal. So I'm gonna that other than the ones you said, because you know I'm all in with Jason Bean at this point. Other than him, I will say Dalton Tucker is a possibility.
Yep.
He has seen his ups and downs, filling in for the injured Will Fries at right guard, but throughout the process, he has at least earned the early respect of the team. Incidentally, we have done this now for 3 seasons, our podcast, and I have predicted an undrafted free agent correctly each of those years.
Yep.
It's not like
I'm not great at that type of stuff. If you gave me a job in the NFL, I would be more of an offensive coordinator. I wouldn't want to be a head coach. I'd just be an offensive coordinator
or a positions coach.
I don't know, but I think I could do running back. Yeah. But
Not a scout.
No, I couldn't.
Scouting or
I couldn't
anything.
do scouting or GM work. Nothing like that. I'm not.
Yeah.
I can find some talent, but it's big names like Ashton Gianti.
You've done much better. I mean, last year was a lot better. You kind of dove into some stuff in our pre-draft process. So yeah.
There was an app that I found or something that I could do it, and it was fun to run through that. So that's why I had. I'm sure I'll find it again, and
It helps when you have scout friends. I mean, I do have NFL scout friends, so
yeah, it's true. Yeah. Run the ball and keep running the ball.
we hear that a lot.
Yes, this is my phrase in every preview show. Most of the time, not just preview, recap shows as well. Every single win this season, the Colts have had double-digit second-half rushing attempts. Every single loss had single-digit second-half rushing attempts, aside from the game in Houston where they had 10, barely double digits.
Yep.
Each game is different with scoring situations, but the principle remains the same. Continued running the ball late leads to success. With the Colts being in so many one-score games and an explosive running back like Jonathan Taylor, we can only imagine how many outcomes could be different by committing to the late run game. JT, like I just said, is explosive. The thing that pops into my mind instantly is that game Jason McCourty is casting versus the Patriots, and JT hits a move on Hightower, and there was a defensive back that was like their guy,
Yep.
and just books it and ices the game.
Yep.
He is explosive. You never know what you're going to get with him. If you are able to, obviously, this past week they weren't able to necessarily run the ball with time management and stuff like that towards the end of the game because they're kind of playing catch up, especially since AR threw that last Christian Gonzalez pick. But if you have the time and capability to run the ball during the end of the game, do it 100% because you never know what's going to break off from it.
Yep. You're exactly right. Several weeks into the season, some of the national media started to recognize the success of Josh Downs to keep the chains moving.
Mm-hmm.
He is a reliable possession receiver who could find space in the defense and help the team with yards after the catch. Funny thing was that in the final preseason game of his rookie season in 2023, I initially gave him the nickname of Josh First Downs.
The other thing that I spotted, don't bring the blitz off of Josh First Downs' side. That's what I'm calling him. Josh First Downs, and a couple times they brought the blitz off his side, and he burned them.
Yep. And we have been calling him that ever since. Sometimes Josh touchdowns if he gets one.
Yep.
So
For short,
he's
little
been
JFD.
Yep. He's been all reliable. I asked you a question that I saw on Instagram.
Yep.
Who is the most valuable player to come back after the bye week? It was Juju Brents, Josh Downs, or Ryan Kelly. And what did you say?
Josh First Downs, of course.
Yes.
Of those. If you throw in another one, I might say Samson Ebicom.
Okay. I still think Josh Downs is the most important person because he is our offense is so much different without him.
I agree.
People don't realize how big of a threat he actually is. And they I think people whenever they're reviewing clip, they're like, okay, this is actually pretty easy to deal with. We'll just do this. But it's not that easy because he's so slippery. He just gets out super easy.
He runs routes like an outside receiver, but he's small like a slot guy, but he finds space like a tight end.
You know what he reminds me of a lot? Tyler Lockett.
I could see that.
The way he kind of moves throughout space. He's speedy like him.
Yep.
The route running is there.
Just the cuts, the shifty.
Yep. Love me some Josh Downs. This next one is not about the Colts, but related to the next one, and we got it right so far. We said since before the draft that Caleb Williams could be a great NFL quarterback, but instead he went to the Bears. We could not easily locate a clip of us saying this, which is amazing since we've said it so often. I think a lot of those times we're outside of the podcast. A lot of those times we're inside the podcast.
Yep.
He has been so inconsistent, had good games, bad games, but has been failed by the organization who has now fired their offensive coordinator and, for the first time in their 100-year history, fired their head coach in the middle of a season.
Now, I'm not going to say that's all on Caleb Williams. Like we said, he could be great, but he went to an organization that historically fails quarterbacks.
If you think about the Bears quarterbacks, who's the best one?
Jim McMahon.
Oh, okay. Yeah,
Jim McMahon. But most of that is because of the defense that he had,
Jay Cutler is who I was thinking.
Yeah. I mean, but, then Rex Grossman got him to the Super Bowl against Colts.
Yeah.
He
only got him
the best.
Only got him there.
Yep. Another leading up to the draft moment, there were several needs for the Colts listed from professional pundits. At the top of the list was cornerback. But with a deep cornerback class, I figured the Colts could wait on that until with the 15th pick in the draft and then There were other needs, such as wide receiver, depth, safety, and the enticing Brock Bowers. But I focused on edge rusher because of the end of Kwity Paye and Dio Dengbo's contracts the following year, after this year. In my observation and analysis of Dallas Turner, Jared Verse, and Leatu Latu, it was my desire that the Colts would draft Latu. But my consensus was that they would probably go with Dallas Turner.
Leatu Latu.
Okay.
I think he has some injury questions, but he put up 13 and a half sacks last year. He can contort his body. The current league comp that I've seen is Max Crosby. That seems like somebody that I don't want to have on my team.
My wish was Chris Ballard's command, and Latu was the first defensive player off the board to the Colts.
Yeah. Before we go to this next one, I have a question to pose to you.
Okay.
Unbiased opinion. Who is, as of right now, your defensive rookie of the year, since we're kind of talking about this anyways?
All right. I would say it's probably Jared Verse.
Okay. I have a different one.
I think that's a credit to the Rams and how they conduct their business. They always get good picks, good quality picks, and they develop them really well.
Yeah. Mine, as of right now, from what I've seen, is Cooper DeJean. He has been a beast, not just because of what he did to Derrick Henry, although that was sick, but because of his cornerback rating. It's one of the highest in the league at 89, just as a rookie. And let alone he was the first ever starting white corner in the league, which is pretty cool.
Same team, you could say Quinyon Mitchell, because Quinyon Mitchell, I saw some stats on him, who he's gone up against and how he has performed against his competition is pretty sick.
Yeah.
So
I think a defensive back should get it, but defensive player of the years normally go to edge rushers or linebackers. That's just the way it goes. I don't remember the last time it has been defensive back, honestly.
yeah.
Well, I believe, yeah.
That's it for this week. With the bye week, we will be back next week with our look around the AFC South, look at Colts players' fantasy projections, our weekly NFL prediction show, as well as our preview of the season-defining matchup with the Broncos. Plus, we will begin the week with our final mid-season evaluation.
Yup. This is Liam,
And this is Kevin.
reminding you to stay all in Colts.
All in Sports Network. We love sports.